Yeah, you are welcome to this Python training course, Module 3. What is our agenda for today, dear participants? Our agenda for today are the following. We want to learn string data type, multi-line string literal, using index in strings, what is slice operator, what is length function, and we shall be ending today's module with positive indexing and negative indexing. Without wasting much of our time, let's dive into today's training. All right. Now, what is string? We have discussed about variables, otherwise known as identifier. You said we have some data type that can be included in our variable as value. But today, you want to talk about string as data type. What is string? String is a sequence of characters, e.g., Idris is a string, your name is a string. And we have mentioned that string should be enclosed with single or double quotes. For example, declare variable A, swimming, or variable A, Idris. So you can print the variable A, which is Idris. And of course, Python knows the type of data type is the variable value. So when you type and ask Python the type of the variable, Python will tell you the variable is string. We have done all this. We're moving on to what is the reason for quotes, either single quotes or double quotes. But as a quick recap, let's launch our prompt, CMD. Let's go into our prompt. So these are our prompts. Now let's launch our Python software. This is Python. So just as a quick recap, let's declare our variable and print our variable and ask Python to tell us what is the variable type. Now you can see print A, Idris, then type of A, which class. Python tells us A. The value in our variable A is string data type. Now the question now is, why using single or double quotes? We are using single or double quotes for the following reason. In case you are to quote your middle name or you are to quote a middle number, then you have to use single and double quotes. And how do we use single and double quotes? If you are to quote the middle name, for instance, it means you have to use double quote to start, use single quotes for the middle name, and use double quotes to end the variable. For instance, we want to print Idris Sogunle. Copy, paste. Let's print. Can you see now? Idris Sogunle. That is the essence of using single and double quotes. Or you can use single quotes to start the variables, then double quotes what you needed as the middle name, and close the variable with single quotes. This will still give you the same results. Let's have a practical side to that. All right. Can see print, single quotes start with Idris, double quotes at the middle name, and you close it with single quotes. Print. Oh, this is giving us error. Why the error? The error is I'm starting my print with capital letter P instead of small letter p. So let me change this to small letter p and C. All right. Let me copy it again. and paste on the prompt. So you can see this is correct. Idris Sogunle. Now let's move on to the second agenda for today. Multi-line string literals. What is multi-line string literal? In case you want to print a very long name, and you want to print this name, it must be enclosed in a triple quote as against double quotes. For instance, you want to print Idris and you want to have a space within it before the final name. Okay, so that is why we use triple string for multi-string literal. So I've copied that. All right, so I've copied that. Let me expand or close this. Let's expand our, okay, to expand, yes. So you can see now, you can paste this. Let me copy and paste exactly what we needed here. All right, you want to use multi-string literal. So you copy this, then you paste on this, paste here. So let's enter. You can see that when it prints A for me, let's print A and see the result is going to return to us. Print A. You can see Idris, then the long quote, then we have Sogunle. This is what we mean by multi-line or multi-quote literal. All right, let's continue. That's that about multi-string literal. It should be enclosed in triple quotes. And you can ask Python to tell us the data type of that. It definitely tell us the data type is string. Let's try that. It's a matter of practice. So what's the type of A? It will tell us it is a string character. All right, let's move on. The next on our agenda for today is using index in string. What do we mean by indexing? What is indexing in Python program? Pay attention to this, it's very, very important. Now, using index is to identify a particular character in a declared variable. For instance, I've declared a variable Idris, but I want Python to only print for me just a character or two character or three character. I'm going to talk about slice operator, but for now, I want Python to only print D for me. That is called indexing. We have two types of indexing. We have positive indexing and we have negative indexing. What is positive indexing? Positive indexing is to identify each of your character in the string as number. For instance, you must have to note that the first character in your string is indexing at 0. The second character is 1. Note this. The first character is 0 and the second character is 1. And the rest follows. Now, let's talk about, I want to print only D. I want to print only D. How do I do that? To print only D. It's as syntax. The syntax is just this. Print A, and you remember that the value in A is Idris. Print only D. Remember that second character in Idris is D, and the second character is indexing as 1. So if I ask the Python to print A and indexing 1, it's going to print for me D. Let's see that. Copy and paste A. What are we expecting as output? What are we expecting? Perfect. We're expecting D, and D is our output. Let's have another example. All right. I want to print for me only I. So it's going to be print, open brackets, the variable, then tell us the index. The index for the first letter is 0. So let's try and print that, my dear participants. All right. So what are we expecting? What are we expecting this code to return? This simple line of code, we are expecting to return first letter. All right. We're expecting to return the first letter. Let's trace back what the problem is. You can see what the problem is. I'm supposed to put 0 and I put letter O. So you just go back. This is part of troubleshooting in programming language. So I'm supposed to put 0, not letter O. Now let's print this. Let's print this. All right. Yeah, perfect. This return the first letter. This is called positive indexing. This is called positive indexing. All right, let's move on now. Let's talk about slice operator. I will shortly talk about negative indexing, but let's talk about slice operator. What is slice operator? As a matter of fact, ordinary English meaning of slice, you agree with me, slice means to cut from larger portion. To cut from larger portion, slice bread, part of that bread, slice it and give me part of it. So when you talk about slice operator in Python, we are saying that I don't want Python to give me to return the whole string. I want Python to return part of a string. In that case, we use slice operator to get some characters. To get part of a string, we use slice operator. Now, I don't want Python to return the whole of the string, Idris. I want Python to return part of it. It has a syntax to be followed. Pay attention to this. The syntax is the variable A, beginning underscore index, column, end index. Pay attention to this. I'm going to explain. Now, I want Python to return part of my name. For instance, I want Python to return part of my name. I want Python to return only Idris, not the whole of Idris. Then follow the syntax. Print A. Don't forget that from the word Idris, you can see that the second character is indexed as 1 and the second character R is indexed as 2. So if I want to print, I want Python to return only Idris, not Idris, only Idris, then it means I'm going to follow this syntax. Print the variable 1, which is D, colon 4. 4 is S. We are expecting the Python to return Idris, but Python will not return Idris. Python will return only DRI. Why? Pay attention. Because the last ending index will return with -1. The last index will return with -1. Let's have a practical look at this. For instance, I want Python to print this for me. Let's have a look at it. All right. What are we expecting, my dear participant? We are expecting the first character to be printed here is index 1, which is D, and the last character, which is X in my name, -1. So instead of returning that X, it will return second to the last letter. Let's see. Perfect. Can you see now? So I have D, have I. This is what they call slice operator. Let's have a look at another example. For instance, I want this to return from the first one, which is 0 to 4, and I put 5 here. What are we expecting this to return, dear participant? What are we expecting this to return? Let's have a look at it and begin to suggest what should this outcome be. Let me have a pause a little. Write your answer down. So if you get the answer, hooray, thank you very much if you get the answer. Now let's enter and see what it's going to return. It's going to return the whole strange, Idris. If you get it, hooray, thanks. It means you are really following. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Now, note that if we do not specify begin index, then the default index will be 0. What I'm saying is this: I do not specify the beginning index. In this case now, let me remove 0 and let me not put anything. Once we did not declare the first index, the default value will be 0. So note that. For instance, let's print this, and based on my explanation that the default value will be 0 if nothing was declared. Now, what should be the outcome of this, my dear participant? What should be the outcome of this? Now, let's run it. The outcome will be Idris. Why? Because you do not specify the first value, and the default value will be taken to be 0. Let's move on. Also, if we do not specify indexing x, if you not specify the indexing x or the ending index, if you not specify the ending index, the default value will be 0 as well. Meaning that if you declare the first value and you do not declare the last value, then the default value will be 0. It will take from where you declare up to the end of the whole string. Can somebody suggest to me what this one will return? Can somebody suggest to me what this one will return? So write your answer down and let us see what the Python will return. Note that I said if you do not declare the ending index, then the default value will be 0. It will take it up from the first value up to the last value. From my name Idris, what will be the outcome of this, my dear participant? Write it down and let us see. If you get this, hooray, thank you. It means you are following. Perfect. No, I've declared Idris here as I've declared Idris there as this value. So I'm going to change it to declare another value. Let's say b equal, I'll use the same Idris. I'm writing the code from the beginning so that you can write your own as well. So when you say print b, all right, this one is called Idris, but I want to print using indexing. So let me change this to b. So what are we expecting? What are we expecting from this? What are we expecting the Python to return from this value? What are we expecting Python to return, my dear brothers, my dear participant? Yes, we are expecting this to return from 1 up to the last value because we do not declare the ending index. This is what we call how to use index, positive index, and slice operator. I also want to talk about how to use negative index. Negative index starts from -1 rather. For instance, I want to print b. The negative index, I want to print b. It means from the last value a. Look at my Idris. This is Idris. So we are going to start from the last value here, -1, -2, -3r, -4d, and -5. So let's try and have a look at the protocol example of that. Now print b -1 index. So what are we expecting to come out of this? What are we expecting the Python to return for us using this? What are we expecting? Have the answer in your mind. Let's say, yes, this is correct. The last character in that string is s, and that is -1. Now let's try -2 as well. Let's try -2. Let me change this to -2 and let's run it and let's see what the Python will return as our output. Yes, what are we expecting? We're expecting I, of course, which is second to the last in the variable. Now let's move forward. Now we want to look at how to convert Idris, all small letter. I want to have my first alphabet as capital letter. Pay attention to this. This is what we call using upper function. Using upper function. I want my Idris, that particular first character, to be printed in capital letter. Now follow the syntax. The syntax is print the variable. The letter I want to capitalize, I want a letter to be in uppercase. The index of that letter is 0 dot upper, open bracket and close the bracket. And don't forget that I'm going to change this one to B because I've declared another variable, Idris, to be B in that place. All right, so let's copy this and let me paste this. Dear participants, what do you expect this to print for us? We expect to print the first letter. This prints only the first letter in capital letter. Only the first letter in capital letter. If I want to print out the second letter in capital letter, what will I do? What will I do? Just change this to 1 and you will realize that the second letter D will be printed out in uppercase. Let's try this. Yes, perfect. Now what I want is I want my name to be printed out in uppercase with the first letter. Now pay attention to what you are doing. This is called concatenation. I'm still going to discuss more about concatenation in programming language. Now I want my Idris to be printed, but the first letter should be printed in capital letter. Then don't forget what we have done in the first instance. We have learned how to print the first letter in capital letter. So keep that. Just concatenate, meaning that write plus, then you are now going to start from the second letter, which is indexing as 1, and you will now leave the ending so that once the capital letter is written as capital letter I, then you will add it to the second one, which is D, then the rest will follow. That is how to convert your Idris, the string in small letter, to Idris starting with capital letter. Let's run this and see. Don't forget I have to change this variable to B because I've declared Idris as variable B. Now let's look at what this will give us. Copy. All right, then paste. What are we expecting as outcome here? Wow, great. This is Idris that he has given us as Idris Sogunle. So I'm going to close this my prompt and start it again. I've closed this prompt. Let me reopen it again. As a matter of fact, just to recap, CMD. All right, then my Python program, just write Python. Already you have Python installed in your local machine. If you don't know how to install Python in your local machine, or you don't know how to install Edit Plus in your local machine, please refer to our resources for this program. We have packaged the resources with a token amount where you are going to learn how to install your Python in your local machine and how to install your Edit Plus as an environment, an editor to write your Python code. And if you are interested in the whole of these resources, all my lecture notes, you can as well visit our resource link to have that. Now let's continue. This is Python. Now I want to declare a variable B again, and that variable B is declared as what? Idris. All right, Idris. Can use my variable now. Can say print B. So I'm expecting what? Idris. What I want now, my dear participant, I want that first character to be in capital letter. So as a result, that is what you call concatenation. I want to convert my small letter Idris to starting with capital letter. So I've explained this. So print this. The first one has to be uppercase, then concatenate it from D, then to the last alphabet. So copy, let's paste here. Dear participants, what are we expecting? What are we expecting? We are expecting Python to return Idris as the output, and that Idris to start with capital letter. Okay, there's a problem here. Let's fix it out once and for all. That is part of learning as well. Now, okay, let's look at it. All right, you've seen that. Let's go back. Let's go back and see where our code is wrong. All right, now let's have a look at this again. The first letter here. Let's print this. Yes, this is the second letter, capital letter. And let's have a look at the last one. Right, all right. So we want this, and this. So let's look at it again. Let's copy this. So so the problem is fixed already. This is, I wrote A here instead of B. Change this one to B because the variable we clear is B and not A. Thank you very much. This is part of what we are learning, how to detect error code in your writing. The more error you can detect, the more perfect your code is. Perfect. This is what we expect the Python to return for us. Now let's continue, and the last one to do for today. Now I want my last string, my last variable, Idris, to be printed out, but I want the last letter to be capitalized in uppercase. Very simple. All you need to do is just to print the variable, the length of the variable, which is -1. You remove the last one from it, then the last one that you remove, that has to come out in uppercase. That is exactly what we have done here. Now let's run this. Don't forget, let me change this to B, and let me change this to B because we have variable B and not variable A again in our new program. Copy, then paste here. My dear participants, what are we expecting this to return for us? We're expecting this to return the string Idris, but the last letter to be capital letter. Let's run it and see. Yes. Okay, we have seen another one here. The length here is big. I'm still going to talk about length function. So I have to change this. The length, the variable is B, not A. Change it to B. Now let's run it again. I purposely did all this so you can know how to troubleshoot when you have a challenge. Don't be discouraged if your Python program or your line of code is throwing error. No, don't be discouraged. Fix it out and run it again. Yeah, you can see perfect. Don't be discouraged. The last but not the least that we are going to treat today is length function. Length function. For instance, I want to know the number of characters in my variable. My variable is declared as A. How many characters are there in my variable? For instance, the code is length. Print the length of the variable B. Print the length of the variable B. Variable B is Idris. I want to know the number of characters that is therein. We are expecting words. We are expecting to return 5 because the number of characters in string or in my variable Idris is 5. Now let's see, just enter. So it has returned for us 5. Dear participants, Python is very simple. Program language is not difficult. But how to get the best of this training is nothing but hands-on. Do enough hands-on. And whenever your line of code, your snippets is throwing error, don't be discouraged. Fix the errors out. As long as you're able to fix the errors out, then you are becoming perfect in writing code. And your ends will be found. Dear participants, have we achieved our agenda for today? We have discussed string data type. We have discussed multi-line string literal. We have also discussed what is indexing, slice operator, length function, and we have also seen type of indexing and how to use type of indexing. We shall be closing this for module 3. Hope to see you in the next module. Don't forget, do enough hands-on. I remain Sogunle Idris. Till we meet next time.